Right, today's the day we're going to plant the tomatoes out, and we're going to plant them in these troughs, as I've said earlier. Now, the other day, if you watched our Talking Tomatoes video, I said about how these were cordon varieties. Another word for them is indeterminate. You might hear that more often. So tomatoes come in determinate and indeterminate. If they're determinate, that means that the height that they grow is predetermined. So that will be your bush variety, also sometimes known as a dwarf. It's got some other names as well, but they are predetermined, the ones you don't need to take the side shoots out of. These, however, and most tomatoes are indeterminate, which means they will continue growing up and up and up until you stop them. They can grow about 10 feet tall. So what I'm going to do, I don't have any 10-foot canes. So what I'm going to do is, as I plant these, I'm going to bury the end of a bit of wall in with the roots, and then at the top, this is our conservatory. So I'm going to put it from here, and I'm going to get Nick, thank goodness he's very tall, to just tie it to the top of that bracket there. So there'll just be one piece of string going up that one plant can grow up. Okay? Right, there are many things, you can see I've dug the first hole, there are many things you can put into a hole to help. A lot of gardeners swear by putting eggshell inside. That's calcium, that's good for blossom end rot. We don't tend to suffer with that here, so what I've done, you can't see it now because I've watered it in, but I've put in half a handful of bone meal to encourage the root growth. Now these tubs are not that big, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to plant 3 in, and the way I'm going to spread these out, I'll show you, will mean that there'll be plenty of airflow around each plant. That's what you need to prevent tomato blight. Okay, so it just means there's plenty of airflow and the leaves don't stay damp. Let's plant them, and that'll be easier to show you. So this is our first plant going in, held by my glamorous assistant. It's handy having a tall husband, he can tie the string up the top. Right, so as you can see, this stalk has lots of little hairs on it. I've talked about this before. They will all turn into fine little roots, so you can bury tomatoes as deep as you like. And you can see here I've got my main branch and my side shoot, and I've got the same here. I'm actually going to take off the whole lot on both sides. Okay, and then that just means we can plant it a bit deeper. Right, so it's in the ground now. You can see the string. We put the string in the hole before we put the plant in, and then I just wound it around a couple of times. You can see it there. And then this string now goes up, you can see with the sun, and it's attached there. It's not ideal. If you've got a greenhouse or something, then you attach to the poles in the greenhouse, but this is what is suiting us. Now let's plant the other 2. I just wanted to show you this one that's in the elbow. Can you see that? There we go. So we can tell that this is the main stem growing up, and this is higher than this one here. So we know this is the main stem, and you can see where the new leaves are coming. That's the growing top, so we don't want to cut that out. But here, this is quite a good side shoot, or sucker as they call them. So I'm just going to pinch that out. Now, what I've been doing with the ones we've got out today is I've been putting them in water. This isn't ideal, I've got something that's better indoors, but for immediate I've just stuck them in there, and those little hairs will root. The ones I put in the compost the other day, let me get them and show. These, rather foolishly, have been in the conservatory, so some of them have wilted a little bit. This one has taken, that one's taken, a little bit sulking, I'm not sure on that one, and that one's taken. So this is successful as long as you keep the compost moist. They need that to start sprouting the roots. So you don't necessarily need rooting powder, which was good news, I've since researched. Those ones I'll put in water for a couple of days, I suppose, and then stick them in there to grow as well. Excellent, free plants. Okay, now we've come indoors, and I'm just going to take these suckers or side shoots out of there and put them in this. This is a little just a little bud vase I have. I got it when Rose was little, and she'd pick me all the little forget-me-nots and daisies and things. So here there's a little leaf, I'm just going to take that off. They'll do much better in this than just falling into the glass. I don't expect everybody to have one of these. Okay, so that they will stay there, and I'll change the water every couple of days. I don't think I'm going to leave them in that long before I pop them in that compost tray with the little cells in it with the others. So there we go. Right, that all the tomato plants are in now, and you can see the 3 strings going up. That's just how we've done it. It's just how our particular situation, it suits our situation. Now you can see they're quite close together. I think it's supposed to be 14 inches or something apart. Well, that's about 10 there and 12 there, so they're quite close together. As they grow, they will separate, and as they grow, I'm going to remove these lower leaves as well. And if there's any that are touching each other, just stopping the airflow if they get bushier at all, if these get bigger, then I shall remove the ones that are next to each other, just to keep the air circulation going. And I've done these ones too. These are in, and again we've got the 3 strings. These ones we've managed to get a little further apart. I just wanted to show you down here, got a little leaf which is touching the soil, so I'm going to remove that because it can pick up the wet and go rotten. We don't want that. Also, on the subject of keeping your plants dry, you don't want a dip where the main stem is going into the soil, because water will pool there. So you can't really see it, but I've made it the tiniest of mounds, and when I water, I actually water round. I don't water directly on the plant, all to try and keep it dry, and it encourages the roots to go down. So there we are, all in, waiting for the suckers to grow, and let's have a look and see what else we've got going on. Okay, I'll give you a quick run through. Here we have some tomatoes, you can see all of those. The giant plants are our sunflowers, and Nick's apple core left out for the birds. Got one in the middle there, so they're doing really well, those 3. You look at the mess on the fence from the birds. Still, I'd rather have birds than no birds at all. And then the other giant vines that are growing are cucumbers, and we've even got a couple of cucumbers on there. I think this plant has got two. Yes, look, there we go. There's the other one. Now this one doesn't, you can see, doesn't have a cucumber attached to it. So this is a male flower. So you pinch those out. So they can, if the bees pollinate them with the male flowers, then they can get bitter. And I'm just trying to see, at the same time as filming, what this one is. That's another male flower. I shall pinch that one out too. Right, and this one's got a few flowers coming, but nothing yet. And these on the floor, these are red chestnut pumpkins. I've not grown this variety before. We've got 4 plants, so I expect we shall give one to a friend. There's those. And then these are peppers that are doing ever so well. I don't want to jinx it. And then also here we have, these were peppers that we sowed from a pepper we just got from the supermarket. We took the seeds out and popped them in. We did a video right at the beginning of lockdown, or Rose did a video on things you could do during lockdown, and you know, it was impossible to get seeds back then, so she did a few things that you could just sow straight from what you possibly had in the house. And then over there, these are our French beans. There you go. There's only 9 plants in, they're just in this box, easy for me to transport. But look, this one's got flowers on. They need to go out. I mean, as I'm, I don't know what kind of weather you're having wherever you are, but it's really, really hot here. So it's almost too hot to work in the garden. You've got to be early morning, and we're not early risers, or of an evening. And we spent an hour down the allotment last night after Rosie's bedtime. But yeah, we'll be down there again tonight. Need to finish off planting the sweet corn out. It's still warm even at 7-8 o'clock, so sort of get a couple of rows in, but I'll show you down there once I've finally finished all of the sweet corn. And then what I'll do, because at the end of the bed there's going to be some space, I'm going to pop these, probably 2 of these squashes, and maybe one at home. I'll have a look and see what other squashes, because we've got the butternut and the pumpkin and about 3 different types of courgette to go out as well. So maybe only one of these then. We'll see what space we've got. We've also got the long bed down the allotment, which we're not using until the autumn for the wheat, so we could always use those. Now let me show you what we've got in our up the other end of the garden. Okay, these are Inca berries. These are the little lanterns with the orange berry on the inside. They are edible. There's quite a few of those, so I expect I'll be giving some of them away, and I've got even more in the little greenhouse. And then we have some artichokes that are doing well, and more tomatoes. And then inside the greenhouse, this grassy looking stuff, that's the glass gem corn. It's not growing anything like ordinary sweet corn or even popcorn. And then we have quite a few more of the Inca berries. And then we've got some leeks coming on there. More tomatoes, peas at the back. This is our Romanesco growing, and some more French beans. Underneath we have lavender, onions, they are Kelsey variety, and then even more Inca berries. I can't believe how many grew. Some lettuce that has failed, and some lettuce that I thought had failed but has come back. So that's what we've got in the little greenhouse down here. Quite a lot ready to go out. Now I need to find a space that we are going to plant our Inca berries in. I have a feeling I might take out the blackberries at the allotment, you know, along by the shed. Might take them out and put some of these along there. I shall have a think. And finally, and very quickly, we're back in the conservatory now. You can see I've put the plastic Christmas tablecloth on in case there was any water spillages. These are our watermelons, doing very well, but it's super hot in here, so I might put them outside. I mean, they look like they're enjoying the heat, but I'd have to think how hot it is in here. Might pop them outside. There we go. We can have a bit of fresh air. And then we've got more tomatoes, and then these are rosy zinnias, and we started to grow even more San Marzano, hoping for a bumper crop of tomatoes this year. Even more tomatoes there, and a couple of zinnia. My yuzu, this one here, isn't looking too healthy. We have a loganberry, apples. We have apples coming. I think my focus problem is I always try to get in too close to try and show you. There we go. And then flowers, cobnut, blueberry. Oh, there's a pink blueberry, blue blueberry, and then our tomatoes and the potatoes. Thank you, baked potato. And behind is all the wild strawberries going wild. They're starting to encroach onto the bed where I want to pot the glass gem corn out. Really, I want them in line with that post. It's always a shame to cut them back, but I need the space. It doesn't look like the peas have done very well. They're wilted a bit, but I always find here peas don't do very well transplanted. They're not too bad up that end, so I've popped some in the ground anyway. They always grow fine if I just pop a seed in the ground, but they don't like being transplanted here. We'll have another go. I think we've got lots of peas, but it won't be right now because it is so hot. So I shall leave you for now, looking at the tomatoes we've planted out today and their strings, and we will talk to you soon. Hopefully it won't be too long before I finally finish planting out that sweet corn at the allotment, and you can see where we're going to fit the squashes around it. So join me again soon. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.